Hello. That should be better. The other microphone is obviously not doing its thing properly, so hopefully that should be fixed. Let me know if it's fixed, please, guys. Somebody better be clipping this. Is it fixed? Yes. Okay. Back to what I was saying. Lots of loud crashing and banging. My kid bought me filament for my birthday, so I did. I've just swapped out microphones, Penguin. The other one might be flat because it was on the bench and I picked it up and put it on, and yeah. Okay. So we've got Greenbeard, we've got Repo, we've got Penguin, we've got Raj, and a few of the others usual suspects are missing. And we have Barton. Hello. I saw John briefly jump into chat and out of chat a while back, but I was having fun doing bad lip sync while audio was out. So today could be fun. When I went to bed last night, Deltafly was working and it was all good. I was all set up, ready to go. Get up this morning and Deltafly isn't connected to the network for some reason. So I do need to do a little bit of troubleshooting and see what's going on there. Once we've got Deltafly connected to the network, we will then do some playing and we will install Helix Screen on it. For those of you who don't know what Helix Screen is, while I'm just having a quick play here and looking to see what's going on, let's just unplug that power for a second. For those of you who don't know what Helix Screen is, it's an alternative to Clipper Screen. That network cable might be busted. Let's just pull it here. Now, it was connecting to Wi-Fi too, but it's not connecting to Wi-Fi either. So there might be something wrong with this DZ01 image, but we'll get there. I'm just going to do the sensible stuff and check for broken wires in the network cord, and there doesn't appear to be any. Let's very carefully plug that in. Oh, it's lit up. Okay, maybe that's all fixed. The Helix Screen is an alternative to Clipper Screen, and basically people have been talking about it, and I figured why not do a stream about it, because I haven't seen anybody amongst the streamers do anything about it yet. So let's go to here. Let's go to here and more and network. Well, that's better than I was getting in a moment ago. And let's see if it's actually loading here. Let's try a reboot, shall we? And that's pretty common for Clipper Screen to go a bit freezy when you're playing with the network section. I am seeing that there's network traffic on the little lights on the LAN port. So something's going on. Let's see if it's been assigned the normal IP address or not. For those of you who don't know, I've got a Ubiquiti Unify system, so I can jump onto my router very easily and see what's going on. Hardwired. There we go. There we go, 226. So there we go. I've found its IP address. So let's bring up by IP address, not by its MDNS name. 192.168.1.226. And for anybody who freaks out when I use my own Wi-Fi password and my own IP addresses on my network, who cares? You're thousands of miles away, and unless you're sitting literally on the street out front of my house, where I would be able to see you, yeah, there's nothing to see here. So it looks like it's all sorted itself out eventually. Okay, so over here we have my Meet 2 camera set up so that we can see things. People are liking my stream twice. Can you like it an odd number of times? I'm a bit odd and it's a good thing to do. Hi, Kenneth. Good to see you. We are just troubleshooting everything and getting everything ready to go. So what I propose we do is we jump across to Helix Screen's GitHub and we will work up from there. Let's go to Okay, so Helix Screen. To find it, the easiest way to do it is to type in to Google Helix space screen space clipper. If you do Helix and then screen, it doesn't come up with the right responses. So Down Under has drained drop bears. I would recommend not trying to find him. Yeah, I'm working on a few bits and pieces for the stream. I've got another version of OBS running on another machine that I'm testing out stuff. Including a drop bear transition from one scene to another. So hopefully all that stuff will come through in the next few weeks once I'm happy with how it's going. Good thing you have friends who live 20 minutes from me. Okay, good to know. Let's have a look at this. So making sure I'm not doxing myself. Let's get rid of taskbar. No, there's nothing to see here. I will, however, close that to make sure that nothing pops up. Okay, so Helix Screen. Your printer can do more than your current touchscreen lets you. Bed mesh visualization, blah, a whole bunch of other cool stuff. Yeah. Is he the one that gave a drop bear a machete? Maybe. So, customizable dashboards, all the features that you would normally expect at your fingertips, blah, 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 blah. The 70 printers in the database and auto detects your hardware itself. Whether it's going to work like that on the Delta Flyer, but yet to be seen. But look how pretty it can be. It's got a little bit more of a pretty file browser, although Clipper Screen is getting pretty reasonable at that now. On-screen bed mesh. Trust me, on some of my printers, you don't want to see that. And then we get down to compatibility, all the usual Raspberry Pi gear, BTT pad CB1, CB2 Manta, which also by default means the DZ01, which is what's in the Delta Fly, because it's exactly the same Linux host. And yeah, how to do the installation. But one thing I did check is we need to remove Clipper Screen before we go ahead. So let me bring up Kiao and get that done. So we're going to need to close this because that's the wrong Clipper Screen. (192.168.1.226). And it thinks it's there. What's going on? Is it playing games again? Nope, it wasn't. It must be connected, otherwise we wouldn't have got an error. Let's try just typing in the password. Nope, that's not working. Are you sure you want to close the session? Yes, I am. Let's try bringing it up one more time. Has it fallen off the network? Doesn't seem to have done. It's still showing here on Mainsail. Let's do a. That's all still working, so must be something else going on. Putty. 192.168.1.226. there is something most definitely weird going on with this thing. Let's do a restart and see what happens. I should probably swap this camera over. Let's add a camera. Let's add a video camera device, an existing one, that one. And let's chuck it down here over the top of the other one because you don't need to see my hands for what we're doing here. There we go. Hi, Brad. How are you? Everything looks good there. Yeah. Okay. So for those of you who have joined late, we're currently wrestling with some strange things going on with the DZ01 on the Delta Flyer. Initially, it wasn't connecting to my network at all. Then it was connecting to my network, and now it's doing strange things. So let's switch over to this one, so it's all full screen so you can see what's going on. It's doing its boot up, and hopefully we don't spot anything strange. Now, while we're waiting for that to do its thing, I am running so far behind. I still have my Pad 5 on my desk here. It's not been put back onto the Voron yet. It's school holidays, and you would think I'd get more done, but no, the kids are home, so that means I'm getting even less done than normal. This is going really slow. Now, I don't think it's anything to do with the anything thermal, but I'm just going to plug the fan in just to give it the best possible situation. Fan port was that one. If anything, it's cool in here compared to the last few days. Well, last few weeks even, since we had the tropical cyclone blow through. See how that goes. There we go. It's doing things. So Moonraker has been doing odd things lately. I've not had any major issues with it, but we will see. And this is actually quite an old image of Moonraker. I haven't done any updates. This is just the Big Tree Tech version. Wow, this is slow. Let's do something mean to it. Let's go power off and power on. Now, as I said, this was all working fine last night. Before I went to bed, everything was just going. From waking up to 18 or 19 C, it's been wonderful. What temperature is it here right now? It's currently 15 degrees C outside. It's actually gone, once we had the tropical cyclone blow through, it got cool. Oh, no idea what's going on because that's already booted up. Bizarre. And then all of a sudden we got something happen on putty on the other screen. So, and it's got a prompt. Weird. Let's swap back to the other screen. Not that one. Oh, I don't know what screen I was on. That one. That's what I was on. So let's do a quick change to the settings so that it's actually readable. And go. Just for everybody, because I know I've shown this a few times, but let's do it again anyway. Go change, go down to font 16, which seems to work pretty well for on-screen viewing. Click apply, and look, you can probably read it now. The default for the DZ01, like all of the big tree text stuff, is by queue, and we're in. So first things first, we need to load up Kiao. So let's go to Kiao's GitHub, because I can never remember the right command. That one. And paste. Do we want to update now? Yeah, why not? Now, I did read in the details here on the Helix Screen that they do have they do have an extension in Kiao, but I've not been able to find the extension in Kiao on my other machine when I did a quick bit of due diligence checking. So anybody's guess, but we will see what happens. So we've just done the update, and hopefully it's there now. Deprecated Kiao config, old format, blah, 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 new format. Migrate to the new format. Why not? There's obviously something going on. Let's experiment. Okay, we're in. Now, it's supposedly an extension. So let's go into extensions and see if it's here. There's no extension for Helix Screen here yet. So presumably it's under development. Why are we here? We're here to actually remove Clipper Screen. So we need to go to number 3 to remove. We need to pick 5 for Clipper Screen. Maybe it'll pop up in a second for the Helix Screen. Disabled the Clipper Screen service. If you have a look at the screen, it's gone back to text. And let's go B for back to go into this here. Just having a look at chat. Morning, John. If you're bored, tell it yes to Network Manager. As you well know, Brad, I am the evangelist for always saying no to Network Manager. Whenever you're playing with Clipper Screen, always say no to Network Manager. If you've already got Network Manager installed, which most Raspbian images do, it will cause you all sorts of nightmares. Just don't. Just don't. It's not necessary. So it looks like we're on track. Let's go into E for extensions and see if it's popped up now. Nope, it's still the same 13 we just had a few minutes ago. So B for back. So we have currently disabled Clipper Screen. Easy enough to add back if this all goes to hell, but yeah. Let's go to here. Actually, let's do something cool. Let's go here and here. Actually, let's not do that because that then hides it. That sort of vaguely works. Let's drag that down a bit so there's a bit more screen. That gives you a nice black background for the white text, so that's good. So we need to go here. One line installation we're going to use, and we're going to go copy and paste. Enter. Checking for dependencies, installing its libraries. I was actually reading an article last night, the night before, about a malicious code that was injected into SSH libraries. Some Windows developer was sitting there at his desk one day going, why did my CPU cycles go up all of a sudden? And noticed that there was some stuff going on behind the scenes that was being masked. And yeah, he basically spotted that somebody who'd been doing perfectly legit Linux submissions and had been accepted, had been building up reputation, and then they submitted code that it was bad and was basically designed to harvest all your stuff. You're driving back from my brother's neighborhood in, why are you in Iowa? You did some work at the local hospital. You might have been there at the same time as my sister-in-law. She's just had surgery, so she's had a checkup today, I think. So still waiting for this to do its thing. Is it done? Installing libraries. Now, here's something we might be able to do. Let's go to machine. And we can actually see the memory and CPU usage. So it is doing things. Not an awful lot. It doesn't seem to be downloading much. Oh, there we go. Things are updating. This install is taking a lot longer than Helixscreen install normally takes. But we shall see. Now, I got an email at 3 o'clock this morning to say that my soldering gear, some of it is on board with driver. So it could literally arrive any moment. No, wait a minute. Must have been 1 o'clock this morning. Yeah, 1 o'clock this morning. To say that, yeah, my soldering gear was on board with driver. So I could hear the front gate crash at any moment and it could be delivered and we can do some unboxing, or it might be next week. Depends what happens. Waiting. While we are waiting, there's something I was going to show you guys, but then I've forgotten what it is. I don't know. It seems to actually be doing Helix Screen stuff now. All the rest was prep work. Now, I have a gigabit both ways on my internet, so it's definitely not my download that's taking the time. It's whatever's being processed on the DZ01 and or waiting for stuff at the other end. home/byq/Helix Screen if we need it. I am going to do some board repairs, Raj. That's why I've got all this soldering stuff coming in. But until the soldering stuff arrives, we're kind of stuck. Looks like it's restarted system services, so that's why mainsail crashed temporarily. Okay. I think we've got stuff going on. Let's go to that one. Helix Screen, printer setup. Tap you anywhere to begin the calibration. So I've just done a touch calibration. And now we're going to do English. Next. Scanning for available networks. And it's seeing my Wi-Fi now too. This thing is weird. Let's click on next. Back. Uh-oh. Helix Screen crashed. That's not a good start. Restart app. English. Next. How's it doing on system resources? Just for giggles. CPUs are basically idle. There we go. Searching for available networks. Let's go for Ethernet. It says it's got no Ethernet interface, but the Ethernet is on. And we obviously got Ethernet because we installed it that way. Let's try turning Wi-Fi off and see what happens. Okay. 192.168.1.22. Actually, why are we doing this? Penguin will be screaming at his screen right now. 27.0.0.1. Connection successful. Hi, Gergerman. You want an HDMI 5 for that field? So just going for some people who aren't as networking. Hello? Lost audio? Has anybody else lost audio? Unless Gergman's way behind. Hi, Captain Kern. Okay, yeah, everybody else hears me. Okay, so hopefully that's enough of a reminder for Captain Kern if he didn't go live. Two things to know. YouTube now starts you at the beginning of streams sometimes. So if you join a stream halfway through, make sure you hit the live button. Yes, Gergman's all sorted out, so that's cool. So if you start a stream halfway through, make sure you click live to make sure you are live, and not just start watching from the start of the stream. And two, what I just did on the screen. For those of you who aren't networky people, 127.0.0.1 is the loopback address. Basically, it tells the device to connect to itself. It's useful for things like what we're doing here, where there's one piece of software on the unit talking to another piece of software on the unit, but using the network interface as a means of doing it. So, Captain Kern's just letting everybody know he's not going live today. He's got some real life stuff going on. So yeah, this loopback interfaces allows pieces of software on a device to talk to each other using the network interface that's built into the operating system. Cool way of doing it, but what I've just done is I've, rather than putting in the device's IP address, which may change, I've actually told it to use the loopback address, which means it doesn't matter if the IP address of the unit changes, it will automatically talk to itself regardless. So that's what I've just done with that 127.0.0.1, and 7125 is the Moonraker API interface address. So I've hit next. Let's see what happens. It's crashed again. Hopefully this isn't something that happens on a regular basis. Give it a chance to restart. Helix Screen. Picking English. Next. And we're back to where we started. Turn that off. Go next. One, 2, 7.0.0.1. 7125 is there anyway. Test connection. Connection successful. Click next. Restart app. Let's do something sensible here. Let's go to their troubleshooting and see if there's anything that helps us with this. So let's go to here. Troubleshooting. Troubleshooting guide. Here we go. Startup issues. What about constantly crashing issues? While we're waiting for that, I'm going to hunt through it. Let's do sudo restart now. No now on that. What am I missing? YouTube doesn't like IP addresses. I'm going to do the brute force, power off, power on, and we'll see what happens. Raj, what you could do is you could put an IP address with spaces in it. So 127 dot space, next numbers dot space, and that will bypass the filter. So let's go back to this one. Is it doing anything? Nope. There we go. Helix Screen. Okay, we're in. Let's tap English. Next. Still thinking. I figured this would be a nice, easy, simple thing to play with. Especially seeing as it's approved for the CB1 and CB2. And this is basically the same board, but with the chip soldered on rather than being plugged in. Yeah, this isn't good. Why she thinks I'm putting in a web address. This is frozen up entirely. Let's try something a little different. Let's go 192.168.226:7123. 5. See if Moonraker's up. Will it load? It may not load. We don't. Ah, here we go. I'm a little confused why it says there's no Ethernet service, but we will go with it. 127.0.0.1. And connection is successful. Next. Anything? Bueller? 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 It's at this point, it freezes every time. We'll give it a second and see what happens. This is definitely not the stream I was anticipating. Well, if you're a mod, you'd be able to post addresses. There we go. Raj has the power. Do not abuse it. Is it doing anything? Doesn't look like it. System CTL from space. Daemon reload. Okay. Putty's even crashed now. Oh. It's done something. Maybe it's crashing trying to rake its library for things that are going on. Venture Delta, no, it's none of those. So let's go custom/other. Let's go back. Delta. Flyer. Next. Bed heater is called bed heater. Hot end heater is called hot end heater. Okay. Next. Now, one of the people I was chatting to about this did have a comment that you can't easily set up chamber heating and that sort of stuff on here. So we'll have to have a look at that. No chamber fan, no exhaust fan. RGB LEDs. So presumably it's combed through the CFG file, and that's what it was doing, and that's why it was crashing. It just bombed out because it was working too hard. Send report. At least we're getting to we've made some progress. Now, I've read that you can also, in principle, install this directly onto your Windows machine. So if you wanted to, you could actually have this installed onto basically anything, and it will then allow you to just have the same interface, and you just put in lots and lots and lots and lots of printers and pick from them. But yeah, I'm not over enamored with it constantly crashing so far. Let's give it a few more moments because it does seem to recover. Let's go back to main sale. The CPUs are basically idle at this point. So yeah, this is fun. Everything always goes well until it's time for you to stream, pretty much. Got Phil on half the screen and your Prusa camera on the other. Very satisfying content. Only because the Prusa camera's got something pretty to watch. So let's just see if we can get another. Oh, here we go. Putty's back. It says it's got no network, but we know it's got network. Give it one more chance. In the meantime, let's do this QR. Oh, there we're in. There we go. Tip: use external perimeter first for holes. Okay, I'm sure. Let's go to that one. It appears we're in. Hopefully now that everything's done and it doesn't have to go scanning the CFG folder, etc., that it stabilizes. We've got preheats, PETG, ABS, PLA, TPU even. Load, unload, and purge. Extrude and retract. And we can we change the picture? I'm just going to find a delta in here just so it looks vaguely. There we go. It looks vaguely like this. Otherwise my OCD will... There we go. Close enough. Let's go into here. Motion system. Should we do it home? Should we see if it works? That framing looks okay. Oh. That wasn't very spectacular. Let's do this. Can I disable all? Does it have a disable motors here? Motors off. There we go. Let's make it really all over the place and go home all. There we go. So homing works. Motion allows us to move it up and down. Should we see if it warms up? Let's see if it warms up. Yep, it's heating everything up. Is the bed warming up? Yep, the bed's warming up. Let's hit cool down. I do like how fast this hot end heats up. Won't worry about filament at this point. Aha! Display settings. This is what we're looking for. Just having a look for chat. I'm assuming Gergman retracted some sort of abusive message. That sounds like his sort of style. Display and sound, language, brightness, etc. UTC +8. Hong Kong, close enough. Time format, I prefer 24-hour. Animations. I'm definitely going to disable animations based on the performance we've been seeing. Widget labels. We're not going to have a bed mesh on this anyway, I don't. Oh, we might have a bed mesh. Yeah, we do have a bed mesh from the... Let's see if this crashes it. Well, it seems to be working. Display sleep after 20 minutes seems reasonable. Flying toasters as our screensaver. We have to see what that is. So let's set that to 1 minute and we can come back and change this. Sleep while printing is allowed. Touch the screen to wake up makes sense. There's no point having sounds because there's no audio on this device. Presumably it's just a beep for the buttons. Yep. And display and sound, we can go away. E-stop confirmation, yeah, I like that. Cancel escalation. Escalate to emergency stop if cancel doesn't respond. Yes. Escalation timeout 15 seconds. Print completion alert. Yep, that'll do. Hardware and devices. Printers. So yep, we can add more printers on here. I don't actually have any of them turned on at this point, so we won't worry about that for now. But you can indeed add multiple printers on here. And because it's all connected via, you put a message in the wrong chat, so you're cheating on us with other chats. Gergman, seriously. Dude. Like I said a minute ago, you can actually have multiple printers running off this, and it just talks to the printers over their web interface into Moonraker. So very simple thing to do. Fan control. Go back. LED settings. I'm not going to mess with this because we've got all the macros already in place. Spoolman. I don't use Spoolman personally. I found it was just an extra step and I wasn't getting anything from it. Maybe once the Prusa has index on it, it'll be more useful for me. But at this point, it doesn't do anything for me. System. Let's see if... Will it crash? It looks like it may have crashed. I'm just looking at Putty again. And Putty on the other screen has gone down. So anytime we touch anything to do with network, this thing freaks out. And maybe that's been the problem we've had all along. Now I've just noticed this fan is moving around a little bit. So just to peg it in place, I'm just grabbing an M3 screw. There. Join the club, my wife thinks I'm a jerk. I never said you were a jerk. I just said you were cheating on us. Yeah, so moral of this story so far is it doesn't really like the network interface on the DZ01 and freaks out every time you do anything with the network. And let's go to here. Oh, maybe things have just recovered because the CPU was at 100% for a moment on, according to mainsail. So the CPU here was spiked for a few moments to 100%. Duplicate session. And I still can't connect to Putty on another session. So all we can do is wait for it to time out, I think. I was hoping that this would just be awesome, but it may well be on a different host, but it's not here. I'm sure I saw somewhere that this can be installed on Windows. What I want to do is give it a fair crack. And if it can be installed on Windows, then what I'll do is I'll actually install it on my machine here, because it really shouldn't matter. Maybe I'm mistaken, I was reading something else. I've been doing lots of research this week. Yeah, it's definitely frozen up again. And without an ability to connect to the shell, I am a little bit stuck. Let's do a reboot. Now we've got most of the setup done and see if it'll actually work. Not the nice way to do it, but anyway. I really need to finish tidying my desk. For those of you who were here last week, you know that I've got some new cupboards. I'm slowly working on loading all my stuff into. And I'm not going to try and limbo under the network cord, because if I knock this out, I'll probably end up pulling the printer off. Okay, so Helix Screen is up. It's gone into the printer. No notifications to worry about. Let's just avoid playing with anything to do with the network. Back into here. Let's not touch host. Presumably that's, yes, just where mainsail is. Touch calibration we did. Hardware issues. Okay, so that works. So we can restart Helix Screen if we need to. I'm not going to share usage data. I'm going to send him an email going, well, this sucked a bit. Helping about, links to the Discord and documentation. So that's all good. What's in dots? Emergency stop, restart Clipper, and a firmware restart. Okay. So we can have a list view or a thumbnail view. That's just the koalas that I've been printing over and over as I do the calibration. I read that we could probably move all these widgets around, but it doesn't look like it's that easy. Presumably that's a stop button. That's the motion stuff that we already did. Let's turn the part cooling fan on just because we can. Yep, that works. They're more displays than anything else. Calibration and tools. There's no mesh available. That's fine. I'm not going to mess with Z calibration because that could go really wrong. Because it's a delta. Macro browser, print history, here we go. So you can do PID tune straight from the you can do PID tune straight from the screen. Install Helix Print plugin. Let's not play with that right now. Macro browser, see what it's got. Oh, just a complete list of all the macros. Console, just like we used to in Clipper Screen. That's not Clipper Screen mainsail. So it does work, but it's very, very buggy on this chip and this network set. Turn the lights on, turn the lights off. So light goes on, light goes off. It does work. So that's there. So yeah. This has been strange and not necessarily eventful, but yeah, not quite what I was expecting. As somebody had already told me that you can't set any chamber heaters up on this, which I do find a little bit strange. It does have the ability to talk to a chamber fan, but not a chamber heater. Let's just have a look and see what happens. It's got a nice graphing feature. So what I'm doing is, for those who missed that, I'm just turning on I've turned on the nozzle heating. And I'm assuming if we go into custom, yeah, it just opens up a dialog box to set it. And 0 does set it to off, as I suspected it would do. Yep. I'm guessing if we go into bed, exactly the same thing. This is the tips that keep popping up on the screen. Monitor with exclude object. When printing multiple objects, one failure, blah, blah, blah. How to enable it. Okay, during a print, simply click on the failed object in the UI and exclude it. So that's interesting. You can actually exclude objects directly from here. I think I've tried that on Clipper Screen once or twice, but it was always a bit clunky. And the quick actions, you wouldn't really use the individual homing of the axes on a delta, so it would be nice if it got rid of those and just did a home all. It says 2 sensors, but only ever shows the data for 1. Okay. The hot end fan is running at 60%, which makes sense because the nozzle is still a bit hot. Yeah, okay. So, there was one thing I was going to try and get done this week as extra content in case we did run out of stuff or things went very wrong, and that didn't work for me. None of the prints were sticking to the bed, so it just was a huge fail. Projects, you're here. You're just about getting here in time for me to wind up, I think, because it's a short stream, because Helix Screen, it was a little bit crazy to install, but it was a short one, and now it's working, but yeah. On this particular Linux host, it's not ideal. Whenever it talks to the network network stuff in Linux, it freezes up and does strange things, and it crashed about, was it 6 or 8 times, guys, during setup? It wasn't the easiest thing to actually get going. Whether I'll stick with it, don't know. I'm going to play with it for a little bit longer and see how it goes. So, yeah, I showed you guys the K-Hub last week. I showed you guys the Pad 5 V2 last week. There's nothing else I'm allowed to show you guys yet in terms of new hardware. So next week's content is likely going to be putting an SPI screen onto my Seabor V0 because I've had that SPI screen sitting here for 18 months and the Cyborg can talk to it direct without any major changes. What is Helix Screen? It's an alternative to Clipper Screen. Let's bring it back up on the screen for you. That is Helix Screen. Is it not still in beta? It doesn't say so. There's nothing here saying that it's marked as beta. And while it is a 0.99 version number, there's nothing here saying we think it's still out of whack. I'm just quickly reading through. Let's go back to here. There's nothing on the GitHub saying that they consider it to be beta. It does look very nice, and in theory, it's a lot lighter weight RAM-wise, according to the way they market themselves. But what that might mean is they're actually not preloading and caching very much. Now, this is supposed to be some flying toasters, but the flying toasters didn't come up. Okay. Yeah, it's supposed to be very lightweight and only use about 15 megs of RAM compared to Clipper Screen, which is a lot more. But I suspect the way they're achieving that is by loading assets from the storage as they need them, rather than caching things and holding them in RAM ahead of time. So yeah, that might be some of why we're having some of the responsiveness issues. Should we brave the network interface one more time? No, not that one. It was here somewhere. System, maybe. Network settings. So at the moment, for example, Alex, it's currently not able to see the fact that there's Ethernet connected. It says not connected, but the Ethernet is clearly connected because we're connecting to it over SSH and via mainsail. and you can't click on Ethernet. It's not behaving as well as it could do. So I'm going to send a message to the dev. I'll probably lodge actually, while we're here, issues. Let's have a look at the issues log. Well, there's the crash report stuff that we saw of the SIG-serve crashing. So it looks like that's quite a known issue. Auto-reported means that people have just hit the button from their printer and it's uploaded it. Yeah, I'm in exactly the same boat as you. It's good that Amazon doesn't own them, the software would be bloated. Could be worse, could be Windows. Temp settings and IFS material selection reset to default, nothing to do with this. Screen calibration not being accepted. We had some strange stuff with that. It took a long while to process, so I'm guessing that's about the same. People are trying to use this with AFC. Wow, that's pushing things pretty hard. File lists fail to update. I'm just having a look through this. Do you reckon this was me when I clicked on the update? Because this is minutes ago. And the uptime of 45 seconds was exactly what we saw on the screen. That's pretty cool. It's self-submitted when I hit submit. There's no more information. But what I might do is I might use this, seeing as it's almost certainly our issue, to fill in more information. Let's just see if there's any more information to help us nail it down. Shall we give John's sketchy code a try? Let's see if SSH is even up at the moment. Okay, so SSH is available. Pasting in sketchy code from John. Yeah, I doubt he was vibe coding too. So I've just updated the screensaver to see if that makes any difference. No, that is not a command line code. Okay, I don't know. So let's give it a couple of moments to see if this times out to an actual screensaver this time, because flying toasters didn't load. Oh, yeah, sorry. Got to remember, guys, what time is it here? It's 4:15 in the morning. I'm not processing at full power. I rarely process at full power, but even more so at this time in the morning. So I am reasonably confident that this bug was the one we tried to click submit from the screen. 500 megs of RAM matches what we should have on this board. The timing's about right. Has it had a reboot since? Yes, it has. Hi, Steve. Not that Steve, another Steve. The neighbor down the road's car alarm is going off yet again. Well, we can certainly check that from here. So wireless LAN 0 and wireless LAN 1. And END0 looks like it's the I've definitely not got all my cores online. According to this, it's using END0 as the Ethernet name. So we might I might report that as well as something to add. That they're making a few assumptions that are making life a little tough. I know you have to make some assumptions as a developer about what the system's going to be. And again, it's gone to blank screen, not to the screensaver. So I'll report that as also not quite right. But yeah, rather than dragging this out and becoming really bad, stretched out content, I think what we'll do for today is we'll leave this as a short one. And hopefully sometime in the next couple of hours, all my soldering gear turns up. And next week, we will be able to do an unboxing and play with some soldering gear. So I have been Phil. I have been Down Under Maker. This has been a Helix Screen install, even if it was a bit sketchy. John's got a comment. The way they have changed F0 with Debian has caused all sorts of fun. Yeah, I can completely appreciate that. To be honest, I am so far out of the loop. I used to be all over this stuff. I used to live it, breathe it, and do it all day, every day. But my life focus has changed and my job has changed, so I don't have to live and breathe it. Jeff, you've made it just in time for me to be signing off because we're keeping it to a short one today. So we did get Helix Screen installed. It has been a bit all over the place in terms of how well it's worked. I'm very tempted to install it on the Pad 5 just to see if the experience is similar. But I don't really want to mess that up at the moment because I've got no way of reflashing the eMMC on it. I'm just thinking, do I have any other Linux devices we could play with this? Should we try chucking it on an Orange Pi rather than cutting the stream a bit short? Now, my Orange Pi doesn't have a Wi-Fi adapter, so we are going to need to plug it in here. Plug that there. And then I'm going to need a PD type power supply, which I've got one here. That can plug into. Why is the Meat 2 doing strange things? I don't know. There. Power that on. I'm going to need a Type-C to Type-C cable, which I had one earlier. That's not it. Don't touch that one. Type C to Type C. I had a really nice Type C to Type C, that one there. Sorry guys, pivoting content just takes a few moments of consideration to make sure I get it all right. Let's play Will It Boot? That's not looking very promising. Try this one. That's better. Helps if I plug it into the right Type C port. So, pivot time. Let's go to here. And let's close that because that's no longer available. And close that because that's no longer available. And bring up putty. Close that one because that's no. We're going to have to wait a few moments for the Orange Pi to finish booting up. Then I'm going to need my phone to find its IP address. It looks like it's got network traffic. The NVMe driver is currently working. So what I'm trying to do is get this booted up, and we're going to try it on a much higher spec host and see what happens. I've also just plugged in a Wi-Fi dongle, which might get it to connect to the Wi-Fi. Nothing there. Let's try here. And there. The network still thinks the Delta Fly is plugged in, so that's not great. Maybe that's not properly booted. Let's try that other power supply again. Nope, it hates PD trigger, and this power supply might not be powerful enough. It's worth a try. I'm trying for you guys. Okay, the network now sees there's nothing attached to that network port. Something's attached to the port. It thinks the Delta Flyer is attached to that. Let's give it a try. I'm just trying the same IP address, just in case for some fluke it's... Because this does have mainsail on it. Nope. I don't think this is going to work. The network adapter is flashing with a regular pulse, not the like data transfer kind of pulse. It can see hardware is attached. Because if I unplug it, it disappears, but it still thinks it's the Delta Flyer. Which makes me think the Orange Pi isn't communicating back. I don't have the gear to be able to troubleshoot this or the patience at this time in the morning. So rather than persisting, let's do what I originally planned and say, cut it off here. I have been Phil. I have been the Down Under maker. This has tried to be a really awesome Helix screen install, but it turned out to be a bit all over the place. I will catch you all next week for some soldering, hopefully. It's time for me to hop on out of here. Bye, guys.